What if the world isn't broken, but working exactly as designed in a way most people were never meant to notice? There is one confirmed fact that quietly exposes how systems around us truly operate. And once you understand it, a lot of confusion suddenly disappears. This isn't about secret societies or dramatic plots. It's about incentives, structure, and outcomes that repeat no matter who is in charge. In this video, we're breaking down the fact that reveals why things feel unfair, why progress feels selective, and why effort doesn't always lead to reward. Artificial intelligence has helped make this pattern undeniable, connecting data humans rarely compare. Stay with me until the end, because once this clicks, you'll never see the world or your place in it the same way again. Before we go deeper, like the video, share it with someone who feels something about the world, and subscribe to Fact Vex. What comes next explains why this hidden truth stays invisible, and why understanding it now gives you clarity most people never reach. The world runs on incentives, not intentions. The hidden truth is simple. The world doesn't operate on what people intend. It operates on incentives. Systems don't reward goodness, fairness, or effort by default. They reward behaviors that align with outcomes they were built to sustain. Artificial intelligence analysis of economic, political, and social systems shows consistent results across cultures and eras. When incentives remain unchanged, outcomes repeat, even when leadership changes. This explains why reforms often fail, and why promises sound sincere but lead nowhere. Individuals react emotionally, but systems react mechanically. Once you understand this, frustration turns into clarity. The problem isn't corruption alone, it's design. Systems don't care about morality, they follow incentives relentlessly. Until incentives change, behavior will not. That realization exposes why progress feels slow and why surface-level change rarely sticks. Why good people often create bad outcomes. One of the most uncomfortable hidden truths is that good intentions don't guarantee good results. Artificial intelligence studies of large organizations show that individuals with ethical values still produce harmful outcomes when operating under misaligned incentives. People follow rules to survive within systems, not to reshape them. This doesn't mean people are evil. It means behavior adapts. When survival, promotion, or security depends on compliance, morality becomes secondary. That's why well-meaning people enforce harmful policies and defend flawed structures. Understanding this removes the illusion that simply changing the people in charge fixes problems. The system rewards certain actions and discourages others. Individuals adjust accordingly. This truth explains why disappointment repeats and why blaming individuals alone never solves systemic failures. The issue isn't character, it's constraint. Artificial intelligence made the pattern impossible to ignore. Humans struggle to see large-scale patterns because we experience the world locally. Artificial intelligence changed that. By analyzing massive data sets across time and geography, artificial intelligence revealed the same behavioral loops repeating everywhere. Different faces, same outcomes. That's when the hidden truth became undeniable. Systems don't drift randomly. They converge predictably. Artificial intelligence doesn't assume motive or ideology. It follows results. Once those results aligned again and again, denial collapsed. Complexity protects power invisibly. The more complex a system becomes, the harder it is to challenge. Artificial intelligence analysis shows that complexity functions as armor. When processes are difficult to understand, accountability weakens, responsibility diffuses. People stop asking questions because explanations feel inaccessible. This isn't always intentional, it's structural. Complexity discourages intervention without open resistance. That's why institutions grow more complicated over time, not simpler. Simplicity invites scrutiny. Complexity discourages it. Once you understand this, confusion stops feeling accidental. Complexity protects power quietly by exhausting challengers. This hidden truth explains why transparency is promised but rarely delivered fully. Understanding requires effort, and effort drains momentum. Complexity wins by default. Scarcity is often maintained, not natural. Another hidden truth is that scarcity isn't always inevitable, it's often regulated. Artificial intelligence analysis of resource distribution shows artificial constraints shaping access more than physical limits. Scarcity controls behavior. It motivates compliance, competition, and urgency. Systems function more smoothly when people fear losing access. This doesn't mean resources are unlimited, but it means distribution is strategic. Once you see this, frustration transforms into awareness. The world isn't always short on solutions. It's selective about who receives them. Scarcity shapes priorities, and priorities shape obedience. Understanding this doesn't make the world cynical. It makes it legible. Most change happens quietly, not publicly. The hidden truth is that visible change is rarely the real change people expect. Artificial intelligence tracking of policy, regulation, and economic shifts shows that major transformations usually occur quietly long before public announcements appear. Decisions are tested, adjusted, and embedded while attention is elsewhere. Public debate almost always trails action, not the other way around. By the time outrage forms, adaptation has already happened. This is why protest often feels ineffective after the fact. Systems prefer silence because noise invites resistance and scrutiny. Loud change triggers pushback, delays, and reversals. Quiet change settles in unnoticed and becomes permanent. Individuals feel powerless because they look in the wrong direction. People feel powerless because they focus on personalities instead of the incentives driving outcomes. Artificial intelligence consistently confirms that behavior changes only when incentives change, not when faces change. Focusing on individuals provides emotional release, outrage, and blame. But it rarely alters structure. It feels productive without producing results. Meanwhile, the system continues operating exactly as designed. Real influence requires identifying leverage points where rewards, penalties, and constraints shape behavior. Once you understand this, attention shifts naturally. You stop asking who is wrong and start asking what is rewarded consistently. That shift transforms confusion into strategy. Power stops looking dramatic and starts looking procedural. It lives in rules, thresholds, access, and consequences. Power isn't loud, visible, or personal. It is quiet, structural, and persistent over time within modern systems today. This truth isn't taught because it changes behavior. Understanding how the world actually operates encourages independence almost immediately. Artificial intelligence modeling shows that people who grasp incentives adapt faster and comply far less blindly. That independence is destabilizing for large systems. Systems rely on predictability to function at scale. Teaching this truth early would disrupt coordination, slow compliance, and increase friction across institutions. For that reason, the knowledge is delayed, diluted, or avoided entirely. It is learned later in life, if at all, through experience rather than instruction. This is not deception, it is postponement. Stability is prioritized before awareness. Order comes first. Understanding follows much later. By the time people finally recognize how things work, they are already deeply embedded inside the system, making change harder and more costly to pursue for most ordinary people everywhere today. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. This fact does not make the world darker. It makes it clearer and more understandable. Artificial intelligence did not expose evil, corruption, or hidden villains. It exposed structure, incentives, and consistency. Once you understand how incentives, stability, and complexity interact, much of your frustration eases naturally. You stop expecting fairness from systems that were never designed for it. Instead, you begin navigating reality with awareness instead of resentment. This does not destroy hope. It redirects it. Change becomes possible where leverage actually exists. The world is not broken or random. It is consistent, and consistency can be studied, anticipated, and worked with intelligently once you stop mistaking intention for design. That shift alone changes how you see power, progress, failure, and possibility in everyday life going forward from now on. If this video shifted how you see the world, that's exactly what it was meant to do. The most powerful truths don't shout, they clarify. At FactVex, we focus on understanding reality as it operates, not as we wish it did. Awareness isn't pessimism, it's preparation. When you understand incentives and systems, confusion fades and intention becomes strategic. Thank you for watching until the end. Stay curious, stay observant, and remember, once you understand how the world truly works, you stop fighting it blindly and start moving through it with purpose, patience, and clarity.